Well, hello everyone, and welcome in once again to a rockin' awesome Saturday night up here in Boston. Well, my name's Rick Ferrin. I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world. And man, I have to tell you that a lot of apostates, a lot of people are leaving the Watchtower. Now, a lot of people say, Rick, don't call us apostates. I don't know what else to call us. Some people said call us freedom fighters. Some people said call us truth seekers. Some people said call us whistleblowers, but we are, in the truest definition, apostates. Now, what does apostate mean? One who stands off from their teachings. Yeah, I mean, you could be or stands off from their business model. You could be an apostate of McDonald's because you don't like going there. You could be an apostate of Walmart. So, apostasy, I don't know what other word to use, but it's a standing away, not going along with their model. So let's take a look here. My name is Rick, like I say, Farron, coming to you from Boston, and I want to let you know that I am so pleased to see so many people coming in on a Saturday night. We've been doing this now for 19 years. In January of 2025, that will actually be, when I tell you the truth here, folks, that'll be 20 years that we have been doing this program. So I look forward to that. We've never missed a program here on the six screens. Never, ever, ever. We are here because you are here. Let me just get my news up here, and we'll be able to get the wheels of progress moving here. So let's get and see what's happening in the news. But before we go into the news, there's a few things I just wanted to discuss. I wanted to tell you, I've been saying it. We have a convention, the first of its kind for former Jehovah's Witnesses. It's called Still Alive in 25. That is going to be our theme song. It's going to be right up here in the Boston area. It's going to be at the Hilton Hotel. And boy, people are already starting to make arrangements for it. Now, if you call the Hilton, there's a code. They still haven't given me the code, but I do have the date. The date is August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of 2025. And we're going to have a 3-day convention, and it's going to be wonderful. And the Hotel Hilton is a beautiful hotel. And I want you to know that if you come here, you will not be disappointed. Now, the hotel is a little pricey. I tried to get the best price I could, but they hate giving figures like a year, 17 months away. They hate doing that because they don't know what inflation is going to be. But the rooms are going to be around $170 to $180 a night. But that includes a sit-down, full-course breakfast. So that includes breakfast for two. I put that into the package. It only works out to be like $7.50 per person. If you walked in off the street, a breakfast at that Hilton would cost you $18. So it's not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal, but you get time to save. You get time to save. You get 17 months. Squirrel a little bit away if you can, and come up here to Boston. You will not be disappointed. You come up here on vacation and be able to enjoy the sea coast, the mountains of New Hampshire, the historical sites here around the Boston area. I know you'll find it very enjoyable. If you've never been in Boston, I know you won't be disappointed. And if you have been here, there's probably many things you haven't seen yet. So, try to make it up here. Now, just to give you an idea, you say, well, Rick, what's the convention going to be all about? Well, I have to tell you, isn't it refreshing? I know Joe and Fran, they go out and they've gone across the country, and God bless them. They do a really good job, and they talk to apostates, so to speak, people who have left the Watchtower all over the country, and they try to help them. They have these meetups, and it's so exhilarating. The people are so excited to meet one another. And I saw that at the protest on Halloween Day out in front of the White House, where people who left the Watchtower are so eager and happy, and they just feel so joyous to be able to be with other ex-witnesses because we've all been touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower. So I'm thinking a convention will be wonderful. I want people hitting their head on the doorpost on the way out. I know we got to make this a big thing. People have already got people coming in from New Zealand. I got people coming in from Australia. Got people coming in from all across America and in Europe. Many people coming from the United Kingdom. So if you're interested in coming to the convention, write me at jwworldnews@gmail.com. And let me know, say, hey, Rick, I want to come. Now, I know we got 200 people coming so far. At least they told me that. Now, you'll be getting your tickets very shortly. Now that I got the date, I do have everyone registered here, so don't you worry. You'll be getting your tickets soon. I know it sounds like a broken record, but by all means, just get your tickets. There's only room for 500 people. The tickets are free. The tickets are free. So write me, say, Rick, I need 2 tickets, 3 tickets, and there's only room for about 500 people. So, the first 500 numbers on the ticket will get seats. Everybody else might have to poke your head in the door or sit out in the lobby and watch it on live stream or something. So by all means, write me, jwworldnews@gmail.com. It is so, yes.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I'm listening. Everything sounds great. This is Josh, aka David King from San Antonio, Texas. Just wanted to know if you're needing me tonight, because it sounds like you have somebody from Tennessee coming on. So I just wanted to make sure before I got set up here.
Yeah, no, we do have Tennessee coming on tonight, Josh. But thank you though for checking in. And we're going to find a slot for you. We're just going to take a little time to do that, but we'll find a slot for you. But tonight they will be coming on. Yep.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. If anything, just let me know.
All right, well, thank you, Josh. Thank you very much. That's our good friend Josh Rivera. He has his own program here on the 6 Screens. So what are we going to be doing at the convention? Well, on Friday morning, it's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Friday morning, we'll have meet and greet. Now, what I'm going to do is ahead of time for those that I'm just not going to pass the microphone around to everybody because that can be intimidating, right? So we'll have meet and greet. If you'd like to speak up and give you 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how many people come, but I'm thinking right now 5 to 10 minutes, you'll be able to speak and tell us what it was like for you being in the Watchtower and why you came up to Boston. So we're looking forward to that. It'll be wonderful. That's meet and greet. And then on Friday afternoon, if all goes well and we get through the meet and greet session, we're going to have some testimonies by witnesses that have really been touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower, as we say. So that's going to be something. And boy, bring your Kleenex. We're going to have Kleenex at the lectern because I'll tell you, there's a crying session. So that'll be Friday afternoon. Then Friday night, we'll have some speakers. We'll be talking. I'm trying to get as many high-profile people as I possibly can to come. I mean, I got a lot on our bucket list. Whether all can make it or not, I'm not sure, but it will be live stream. If we can't get them there in person, we'll try to get them on live stream through the StreamYard platform that I have. So that is going to be good. Now, Saturday, well, we'll have, that'll be our main day for public speaking. We'll have our keynote address, and by some of the people that have really been very in the forefront of exposing the Watchtower. So we're going to try to get them here, and you'll be able to meet them. And then Saturday night, what we're going to do is we're going to give some awards away. We're going to do awards for YouTube. And for some of the YouTube videos that really made a difference, and some of the people that have made those YouTube videos. So we're going to really have a good time giving awards away on Saturday night. We'll have music playing. We got some bands coming. We are going to have a gala time at the 6 Screens Still Alive in 25 convention. And then on Sunday, we kind of wrap it up somewhat, more testimonies and more experiences of people being in the Watchtower. And we're going to have a really informative program all 3 days. So by all means, book in the convention. And you won't be sorry. You really, really won't. We got to make this good. We got to make it good. I mean, I've been doing this now for 20 years. I'm going to put all my effort, a lot of resource into this, a lot of my own money into it to make this really work. This to me would be so rewarding. So join us in 2025, not 24 now, 2025. And if you want, I'm gonna. Well, wait till next week. You can call. You can call the Hilton Inn, but they're gonna say you need a code for the special discount rate. But I won't have the code until next week. I try to get it this week, but I don't have it. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. Let's talk about. Unless someone has a question, does anybody out there have a question about the convention? Hit *6 on your telephone pad. Any question about the convention? By all means, now would be the time to come. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Thomas Hutz from Lawrence, Kansas. Have you talked to Steve Hassan? You gonna try to get him maybe, or?
Yeah, I'm trying to get Steve Hassan. He's right out of Somerville, Massachusetts, so he's like a neighbor of mine. I'm going to ask him. I'm also going to ask David Reed. David Reed is an author. He's written numerous publications on Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm trying to get James Penton. I don't think James can come in person, but I'm pretty sure he'll come via the internet. I talked to Barbara Anderson. She may not be able to come in person, but she'll come via the internet. We got a lot of people. I'm working on Paul Grundy. I'll know by probably next week. It shows he does have some interest, from what I understand, to come. Trying to get a hold of Dr. Jerry Bergman, Jehovah's Witnesses, and the problem of mental illness. But what I wanted to do is I'm trying to throw out to the audience. Is there anybody, in fact, before we move on to the news, I'd like to just see is there anybody that you'd love to see at this convention? Is there anybody? Who's that?
If he's able, Peter Gravers.
Oh, yeah, Peter Gregerson. Yeah, not in fact, is it Peter Gregerson? Yeah, Peter Gregerson. He's the one that helped Ray Franz write his book. I'm trying to get a hold of Ray Franz's niece. She has the rights to the crisis of conscience. We got some big. I'm trying to get a hold of Erwin Zalkin, the lawyer for all of the sexual abuse cases that people are fighting against the Watchtower. So, does anyone have any idea who would you like to see out there? Go ahead and hit *6. Who would you like to see at this convention? Give me some ideas. I need some ideas. I'm putting some feelers in. Yeah.
I got one.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name, but she won that case against the Watchtower, and she didn't settle out of court. I can't think of her name now, but she was.
You're thinking of Candace Conti?
Yeah, Candace.
Yeah, Candace. Yeah, well, maybe we can get her out here. We're gonna really shoot for the moon. Yeah, we might not get everybody we want, but we might not do that. But let me bring Bobby on here. Let me bring Bobby on. See who Bobby. Is that you? Hello, Bobby.
Yeah, you know me.
I know you. You got the New York Yankee hat on. Bobby, who would you like to see come to our ex-Jehovah's Witness convention? Anybody have in mind?
I'm going to be funny. I'm really going to be funny with this one. What about our friend that just got kicked out of there? What's his name?
Who's that? Tony Morris.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'll tell you, if we could get, I'll tell you what, if we could get Tony Morris up here, I would give him the biggest bonus he ever got. I mean, seriously.
No. I want to tell him. I
would personally buy Tony Morris. He loves Scotch. I would personally buy him.
I want to talk to him about that. He never got this fellowship for that.
Yeah.
I got this fellowship twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, it's crazy, this religion.
Oh, it is crazy, Bobby. But no, okay. Well, I'm glad you could come on. I hate to cut you off here now, but I got some other people want to speak up. But good to see you again, Bobby. Keep that New York hat on. Thanks for coming in.
New York Yankees. Bye now.
Yeah, thank you now. Bye. Well, that's Bobby out of New York. Okay, let's go with, I think it's our good friend Constance. Constance, who would you like to see come to the convention?
Yeah, Rick, it's me. I'd love to see Reese give a talk.
We're hoping. I believe Fritz Springmeyer will be up. Jimmy Bell, I hope, will be here. Reese, we got a couple of controversial characters here. Reese is controversial, but I'd love to have him come up and give a talk. I also, I've been throwing out John Cedars. I know he's very controversial too. So I don't know. I'd like to invite some of these people and see if they could come, and we could even help them. In some respects, some of them might need a little help getting here. So I'm willing to dig into my pockets and help them a little bit. But Reese, I agree with you. I would like to have Reese too. I think he'd be enjoyable, but we'll have to keep him, on track. Reese, don't vacillate. Don't go off on the tangent. Stay nice and tight knit to the program, and I think that would be good. Yeah. Thank you, Dick. Thank you. Well, you guys are listening in. Who would you like to see come to the convention? Who would you like to hear in person? Who would you like to talk to? Who would you like to rub elbows with? What do you think? Hit *6. Let me see what they're saying here on YouTube. Let me see what they're saying on YouTube. No, they don't. Why not? Well, no cedars. They don't want to see. Why no cedars? Okay, they don't want cedars. Well, I'll tell you, I'll tell you what's gonna really be good is Saturday night is going to be YouTube night. We're gonna give away awards for some of the better YouTube videos exposing the Watchtower. And boy, we have a lot of people on that list. So, just try to make it. Try to make it. You will not be disappointed. All right. Well, let's move on. I want to talk about the duck. When you hear this sound, if you do hear it tonight, when you hear that sound, that duck behind me, well, you can see him. He's right here. When that duck comes down, he wants to give you a prize. I got some beautiful books that I want to give away here. Some of them are actual Watchtower republications. Some of them are just books written about the Watchtower and how evil they are. Like this one right here, for example, A People for His Name. It talks about the founders and some of the presidents of the Watchtower. You might find that interesting. You could win that book tonight. We have this one here, also a book all about how wicked the Watchtower is, The Desolation of the Sanctuary. And how about this one? You heard of this one before. Millions Now Living Will Never Die. Well, I'm going to tell you what, that's quite the book. Now, that's a Watchtower publication. That book has been republished and word for word from the original publication. But if you can guess the secret word, if you call in on our telephone line, or if you come in on our StreamYard line and you say that word, one of the words that's secret, I have it in this envelope right here. There's 4 words in there tonight. And if you say one of the words, you win the book, and maybe you win all 4 books. But if not, at the end of the program, we'll reveal what the words were, and we'll give you some clues and give you a chance to win some books. Okay, so the duck, okay. So I just wanted to say again, if you want to come on the program tonight, we got something new going here, not only on our telephone line, but if you want to come on the program tonight, all you have to do is on YouTube and on Facebook, you'll see a link in the description box. Hit that link. That'll bring you on. Now, you don't have to come in video. You might say, well, geez, Rick, I don't have my makeup on. My hair looks terrible. Don't worry. You don't have to come on. You can make that choice when you come in, and you can either come on video or you can just come on audio only. So hit the link. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Come on, say hello to us. Well, let's see what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower this week. I have to tell you, I am so happy to see that the Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm just trying to get I tell you what, my mouse here is frozen up on. It's driving me crazy here. I can't seem to get things working in the right direction for me. Well, anyways, let's talk about the Czech Republic. I'm going to have to probably go on the wing here tonight because my computer seemed to be frozen up on me. Let me just see if I can't get something to happen here. I'll tell you, you go nuts sometimes with this computer stuff. But let me get on the other link here. Just give me a second. I want to talk about the Czech Republic to begin with. Jehovah's Witnesses, they're in the hot seat with a number of countries all around the world. And you say, well, why are they in the hot seat? Why are the Jehovah's Witnesses being investigated by the governmental officials? It has to do with their stance on shunning. They really are creating issues in countries, a number of countries. As soon as I can get into my Watchtower news here, we can talk about it. Let me just get this scrolled up. The other computer just shot the. Let's see what we got here. Let me hold on one second. Okay. Yeah, just give me a second here, folks, to try to get this straightened out. I'll just try to wing it here because I can't get my computer's frozen up here on me, so I can't even move the computer. But I got enough here I can kind of wing it on, and maybe you guys can help me a little bit as well. But in the Czech Republic, as I was mentioning, the Jehovah's Witnesses are really in trouble because of shunning. Now, many countries are beginning to really question the Watchtower's tactics. We know it started in Norway, and we know in Norway that Jehovah's Witnesses have created monumental issues with the government on shunning specifically children, and children being kicked out of their houses because they're shunned. And consequently, the government in Norway took away their charity status, as we all know. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but it took away their charity status. And consequently, the Watchtower no longer gets their $1.5 million or close to that from the Norwegian government. Now, other countries in the European Union are looking at the same thing. So this is really creating some issues for the Watchtower. Friends, this charity money is big money. When we're not talking chump change, we're talking monumental amounts of money. And the Watchtower is in a position now they're going to lose it. And that is the reason for a lot of their changes. That is why the Watchtower has been changing their position on beards and introducing things slowly. Also saying they're reconsidering the way that they just fellowship people and dealing with the younger ones. It's nothing but a smokescreen. Nothing but a smokescreen to get the Jehovah's Witness or to get the country of Norway thinking, oh, the Jehovah's Witnesses aren't that bad. They're changing. But it is. All over Europe, we see a lot of issues. Let me just try something here to try to get my notes back. My notes have been taken away from me here. Let me just see what happens here. Just give me a second, folks, to try to do it. When you're doing a live program, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. But okay, well, it's not there. I'm not sure why that happened. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut one of my computers off and restart it again, and hopefully that will bring it back on. But in the meantime, let's talk about France. Let me just shut the computer down here, folks, and see if we can start it up again. It's so annoying when that happens. It just kind of takes all the umph out of your presentation I've been working on this good part of the day. But we'll get back to it. But I wanted to bring up some other issues here tonight that I did go over today and this week in the news, and also the country of France. Now, we have got so many countries. This is something that we never really witnessed before. We have so many countries that are coming down on the Watchtower. Look, I've been doing this program for 20 years. Never in the history of our programming have we seen so many problems in the Watchtower organization, and they're all centering around shunning right now. And there's going to be more problems downstream. But in France, let me just read you some of the things that's going on in France. Just give me a second here and scroll down. I want to talk about what's going on in France right now. Man, the Watchtower is in big time trouble in France, and I'll give you some information on that. The Watchtower is being looked at in the country of France as a dangerous cult. Now, in France, they don't use the word cult. They use the word sect, but it's the same as in English cult. So what we have here, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for the Jehovah's Witness organization in France. On this last April 9th, just a couple of weeks ago, the French Senate passed a new anti-cult law that will basically strengthen the hands of milliludes. You say, well, Rick, what is a millilude? Well, I wondered that myself as well. But in France, a millilude is people that are investigating cults. And the country of France does not want dangerous sects and cults in their country. And I wish more countries felt the same way. Now, if you were a country, would you want a dangerous cult in your country? No. Even according to the United States, they should be looking at this too. So what does a dangerous cult do to the population? Well, first of all, it breaks up families. You know, a husband might agree to the cult activities where the wife might not. So they get divorced and the kids get displaced. And who has to, for the most part, take care of the kids? The country. So countries don't need these type of aberrant, strange groups existing in their country. I mean, it all started with Russia. Russia looked at the Jehovah's Witnesses as an aberrant uh, organization that causes nothing but trouble. As a matter of fact, Russia even went to the point of calling Jehovah's Witnesses extremist. Now, I think that's somewhat of a stretch, but nonetheless, that's what Putin called them. He kicked them out. He banned the Jehovah's Witnesses are banned in Russia. So now we have all of these different countries that are coming down on the Watchtower. I'm just going to name a few. We have Norway, we have France, we have Belgium, we have Denmark, we have Sweden, we have the Czech Republic, we have Slovakia, we have Brazil, we have Japan. We have, I don't know, there's probably right now 15 different countries that are saying enough is enough with the Watchtower organization. And then when a country like France even has to go to the point of saying that it's a strange, it's a dangerous organization, that's exactly what it is. Do you look at the Watchtower as dangerous and destructive? Of course they're dangerous and destructive. Look what they do to families. Look what they did to your family. Are you listening here? Are you really listening to what I'm saying? If you're thinking the Watchtower organization goes light on matters and keeps families together and creates good marriages, that's a bunch of baloney. It doesn't. It breaks families apart. So the French agency has certainly the. I'm glad they're doing it. They have the authority to look into the Watchtower, and I'll tell you what, the Watchtower has been in the crosshairs of France for years. Did you know that? No, France has always looked kind of strangely at the witnesses. Or I should say the witnesses look strangely to them. And for years they've been looking into it, but now they have the evidence. People are coming forward all around the world, and they are saying, Jehovah's Witnesses are causing more trouble, and the government now has a listening ear. So I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. I mean, all of us apostates, geez, we've been fighting for years. We never got this type of publicity. But, we could fight, and once in a while we get a little point on the scoreboard. But now we got countries coming against the Watchtower. And France is looking at some of these cults, including the Watchtower, on how they cause psychological traumas. Well, would you agree to that? Would you say that the Watchtower causes psychological traumas to their members? I think it certainly would cause that. Let's see. Do you have someone calling in right now? Let's go to 831. I think it's Anne Marie. Go ahead, Anne Marie.
Lots of psychological trauma indeed. Trauma, and that stuff right now.
Is that you, Anne Marie? Well.
Yes, I'm sorry. Lots of drama, trauma, low self-esteem. You've had your head's not on straight. Your brain cells are all mixed up. It's pretty bad when you really get into it, what the Watchtower does to you. Very bad. Thank you, Ray.
Oh, thank you, Anne Marie. Well, it's bad. It's dangerous. I've always called it, right from the very beginning of our programming, going back 20 years ago. I called the Watchtower a dangerous and destructive cult. At the time, a lot of people didn't agree with me, but I know now they do. And court, even countries are beginning to agree with the destructive nature of the Watchtower. So it's amazing to me. It's really, really amazing that we the apostates aren't the only ones fighting against the Jehovah's Witnesses. Isn't it nice? Isn't it nice to have allies in big places? I wish America would wake up. I wish our country would wake up and start. I mean, they're waking up on a lot of other things, right? They don't allow this. They don't want this, that, and anything else, but they're allowing the Jehovah's Witnesses to gain traction. This country doesn't seem to be coming down on them. It's other countries, mostly in Europe. But I'll tell you what, I've been reading some information. I've been reading some information about the Jehovah's Witnesses in Europe. It doesn't look good. They make millions and millions of dollars through the charity status in Europe. And I know not all countries. I had a man, I said all European countries a couple of weeks ago, and I did get an email. I apologize. It's not all European countries that give charity to the witnesses, but a good many of them do. And they could lose millions of dollars if they all go the way of Norway. So that's why I'm telling you, and you know it anyways. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Well, why do you think the Watchtower, is making all these changes? Especially, I mean, they had to start somewhere. They just couldn't come out and make a major change on just fellowshipping. They're kind of suggesting to the Norwegian government that they did, but it's just a smoke screen. We can see right through it. There's really not much of a change, but they're talking about young people. See, these countries, they're very unhappy with the Watchtower on how they disfellowship, excommunicate, whatever you want to call it, kids from their religion. Do you realize what happens when kids, 16, 15, 17, 18 years old, get shunned in a loyal Jehovah's Witness family? They get thrown out of the house. They get thrown out of the house. We've had people come on here in the last 20 years and talk about that, on how as a young person they were thrown out on the street, no money, nowhere to live. And Jehovah's Witnesses call that, well, that's loving. We're helping our kids. They'll come back to Jehovah. Forget about it. They're not coming back to Jehovah. If anything, they're going to run far away from Jehovah. But the government has a listening ear. Now, all of a sudden, Norway, France, Japan, Belgium, Denmark, all of these countries, there's more. There's more. How about Sweden? Yeah, they're looking at the witnesses. How about United Kingdom right now? They're looking at the witnesses. And the Watchtower knows it. And they know darn well that the Watchtower could lose their charity money. That would be, well, Barbara Anderson seemed to think it would be in the hundreds of millions. I don't know. I don't know what the answer would be. It could be that. It really, really could be that. And only time will tell. But I want to tip my hat to France. I want to tip my hat to the Czech Republic. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that we now have on our side countries that are fighting against the Watchtower. Hey, if you'd like to say something, come on, say hello to us. What do you think about the idea of having countries now fighting against the Watchtower? Don't you think that's a wonderful thing? It's one thing to have all the YouTubers and all the podcasters, but don't you think it's a wonderful thing having countries coming against the Watchtower? Well, anyways, we'll move on. Yes.
I was just waiting to see if somebody else would talk. For years, Watchtower was always saying horrible things about Satan's world and how important it was not to get involved in Satan's world, and don't fraternize with Satan's world, and don't invest in Satan's world. And yet, on the sidelines behind all of our faithful backs, they were raking in money, buying up property, hobnobbing with, they say they didn't, but they did. Rutherford was trying to brown nose and kiss ass with Hitler, and it's true because it came out. If anybody can get a hold of the 1934 yearbook, it's right there on page 160 something or 156, somewhere in there. He was kissing up to Hitler, and yet to the rank and file not too long ago, the brother from the podium, I don't know if it was jw.org, saying, oh, that's an apostate lie, and that's one of them, that we supported Hitler during World War II. Yeah, you did. But the thing that is so sad is they call, the world needs to be destroyed and all that, but they have all these investments in military and medical and tobacco, and they don't advertise it. And then they have the scams of getting all that free labor whenever there's a hurricane or a typhoon or a flood or an earthquake. they put out the call for all those young, strong, willing, and able, faithful Watchtowerites, and to be on their own dime, to bring their own equipment, to go there and go fix people's houses and fix people's roofs. Now, don't forget, sister, brother, when you get that insurance check, don't forget who fixed your roof. You know, the Watchtower could really use the funds, which of course we know is insurance fraud. And, you know, the saddest thing, though, still to me, is claiming that they have so much love. They claim to represent the God of love, and yet they will turn on their own children. And the saddest thing, it sticks in my mind every day, is in the video that's still on YouTube called Disfellowshipped. It's just one word, disfellowshipped. And in it, different ones tell their story of how hard it was. And this one guy said, my parents told me I could stay until the day I graduated. And I guess it was a few weeks before he graduated. So for the last few weeks or months or so, every day he was treated like dirt and shunned at his own home. He had to go to school every day, get ready for his graduation, graduated knowing that when he got home, he was kicked out of the house. And he said, he was kicked out of the house the day he graduated. He said he never forgot this few flimsy items that he had, walking toward his old beat up car with a quarter tank of gas. And he looked back and saw his mother at the window in the living room. And she said she had a dirty look on her face, and she waved him off like, keep on going, go on. He said he never forgot how horrible he felt. This is God's loving organization. People need to wake up and see what this horrible organization really is. And I never myself found out or realized for sure, my brother Rick, that the Watchtower truly was a cult, because I never believed it. And one day I decided to start investigating cults, how cults work, what tools they use, how they implement those tools, how they're used on their trusting, faithful followers. And that's when I knew, oh my God, they really are a cult. Thank you, Rick.
Well, always good to hear from you, Anne Marie. Well, you're absolutely right. It's the world is catching up on them. And so many people listening to the program tonight, they've been really hurt by the Watchtower, by the Watchtower organization. And well, what I'm reporting here tonight, that's why I feel very good. I get very excited. It always wasn't like this. If you roll the clocks back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that there wasn't this much information to share with you about the Jehovah's Witnesses. There just wasn't. It was very difficult to even do a newscast, but now it's easy because there's so much critical news. King of Dots, you're on with us. What do you have to say? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rick.
Yeah.
Considering with Anne Marie, that was Anne Marie, correct?
Yes.
Talking.
Yep.
I have to relate this story. Now, I converted two of my brothers, okay? One of them, he was so popular, he's like the Elvis in the family. A witness couple who were raised in the church that me and my wife reactivated. They had two daughters, and they loved my brother Rick so much that one of their daughters, they just had to hook him up with them. He was 32 years old, and she was 16, and they got married. By an elder. And anyway, they had one kid. Rick told me the night after they got married, she said, can you show me how to smoke pot now? This is in like 1987, 88. Anyway, they had a daughter. The parents they got divorced. Parents moved to Sydney, Ohio, sued to take the daughter. They raised the daughter from infancy. She became a regular pioneer at the age of 18. Or before that, whatever. Anyway, she got pregnant out in field service, whatever it was she was doing. They immediately put her out of the house and disowned her. She was disfellowship, which they do to a lot of girls. You know, more girls than boys, apparently. But now she's a porn star, okay? She's got a couple kids living in Lancaster, Ohio, and she's become a porn star, a former regular pioneer, put out of the house the second she got pregnant. And my brother Rick told me about it. I started laughing hysterically, and he was very offended that I laughed. I'm sorry. It's funny. That's all I can say.
Well,
It's just funny.
well, she's
But
not.
That's what Watchtower does. It'll turn you into a porn star.
Yeah, it's not the first one I heard that been turned into a porn star. It's all that sexual repression or whatever. I mean, really, it's not the first one. Well, thank you, King of Dots. Always good to hear from you.
Thank you so much.
Let's
You're very welcome.
let's go to 229. 229, you're on with us. Go ahead, 229.
Good evening, Rick.
That's 229. You're on with us. Who's this?
This is Tanya. Can you hear me?
Oh, Tanya, we can hear you. Yes. Yep.
I was just thinking, going back to the shunning policy. I watched a video with Jimmy Bell last night that he done 2-3 nights ago with John and another guy, and he was talking about where he had been ambushed by 2 elders that had come up to his house, and they had talked about several different things. And when he was talking about the shunning policy, he went back to the article in the Awake, I do believe it was, in 1947, where they had criticized the Catholics for doing this, and even bringing up the fact that it had roots in paganism. And so I just wonder why, in all of the trial proceedings, all the court proceedings, everything that's going on, why hasn't someone brought up this Awake article to show where, at one point in time, they were saying that, it was wrong, it had roots in paganism. Why hasn't this been brought up,
Well, it's I think a lot of people have brought it up, but you found that fascinating, huh?
Yeah, I did, because actually I had heard about it, and I tried to go back to their library. And I think the library on jw.org will only let you go back as far as maybe 1950. If I'm correct, I may be off a little bit there. But the 47 article, well, you can't even go back to that and pull that up. And of course, that's because they don't want you to be able to see what they were saying at one time. And then a few years after that, well, here they are doing the same thing.
Well, I believe you're right with that. It goes back to 1950, from what I understand. But, they're covering up. They don't want you to see some of the stuff from prior 50. Even now, I mean, they're being indicted. And even now, I'm thinking that they're probably going to have to remove some of the stuff from the 50s and the 60s. I mean, what type of an organization has to do that, where they're embarrassed, where they know they've made mistakes in their writings and false prophecies and saying things that were just completely stupid? How many... How many organizations have to go back and retract this information or get rid of it? It's because they're lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they don't want to be caught up in it, because they know they're wrong, so they don't want to be caught up in it.
So, Tanya, how long have you been out now, Tanya?
Well, I was actually baptized in 2010. And in 2013, I was disfellowshipped.
Yeah, so
I have a brother that's still in, but and we talk occasionally, but not very much. He's in Brazil, I'm here in United States, and we don't talk a whole lot. And I try to get him to see things, but I don't want to say too much to him, because then he wouldn't talk to me at all. So I try not to push it, and just keep hoping and praying that one day something will catch his attention to wake him up.
Isn't it terrible, Tanya, how we have to walk around on tiptoes, afraid to say things? It's hard to even live a normal life because you're going to be so careful on what you say. Isn't that awkward to live a life like that, huh?
Yeah, it is. And, I've told a couple of people that I've talked with that's ex-witnesses that I wasn't as much affected by it, by the disfellowshipping and them shunning me and stuff like that, as other people have been, and I'm glad, because as growing up, I mean, we were witnesses, but we weren't in the door every time it was open, so
really the fellowshipping me was a favor for me, because then it gave me a chance to start doing research on them.
Well, I'm glad you did it. Now you found out what they're hiding behind. Tanya, always good to hear from you. Thank you. Thank you for calling in. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Tanya. Don't be a stranger.
Okay, thank you,
You
Rick.
come back and see us. Thank you. 914. Go ahead. You're on 6
Hey,
screens.
Rick.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. Who's this?
This is Jay from New York.
Jay from New York. I know a lot of Jays from New York. Yeah, I do.
I have something. It might be a little off topic, but one of the Spanish YouTube channels brought it a point, and maybe Gilbert might be versed in this. I'm always eager to hear his opinion. But even maybe Barbara, I remember her mentioning this brother that gave the talk recently about the governing body being our future kings. That brother Bro, on the Spanish YouTube channels, they've been saying that he's been seen with a Masonic ring. Has anybody caught on to that in the English YouTube channels?
I have heard that. He's been put under microscope before by many ex-witnesses. He is, he's an official of the Watchtower. He's not a governing body member. But, it's not the first time I heard officials wearing Masonic ring, including even governing body members. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, it's crazy to me because, I delved into that. I know some might say it's under the conspiracy, but when they keep ascending levels in the Masonic orders, it's revealed to them that their God is Lucifer, the bearer of light. That's why it's just really crazy to me how they can be so mixed up in what's so-called the truth, right? What we all grew up to believe was the truth. So I was just, putting it out there. Maybe, like I said, I know maybe Gilbert might have some information on that. But thanks for the show. Thanks for doing everything you do.
Jay, thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Hey, thank you for calling in too. I really do appreciate that. Thank you, Jay. Okay, friends, do you think the Watchtower has more room to move? I'm beginning to really I'm seeing things come across the internet that's really getting me thinking. I'm really starting to believe, but no, don't take it to the bank and cash it, but I'm starting to think this way. The Watchtower is running out of money. I really think they're running out of money. It's possible. It is possible they could go bankrupt and start a whole new company. Now, don't run away from the broadcast tonight and say Rick's going off on another tangent, but I'm really beginning to think this. Now, what got me thinking this week is what I heard that's going on in Ontario, Canada. Have you heard this? That this is startling. This is shocking. This has got to get the Watchtower running around in circles. In Ontario, Canada, let me just get this up here so we can see it. Let's get down here. My computer, like I say, is going nuts. But there's a whole lot of new lawsuits against the Watchtower in Ontario, Canada. A new class action lawsuit against the Watchtower for having covered up child sexual abuse. How many times have we heard that? And now they're in court. Now, I'll tell you what, in May, now this is all recent stuff, friends. This is not, ancient history. This is yet to happen in May the 13th, 14th, and 15th, 2024, in Ontario, Canada. There is a class action lawsuit that's going to be heard by the Canadian government. And boy, do I really like to hear this type of stuff, because boy, this could really bring the Watchtower down financially. Have you stopped? We report here every week about Jehovah's Witnesses and the problem of child sexual abuse. Now, we know there's so many cases. We talked about them on here, from Montana to California to Louisiana to Maine to almost every state we've talked about. Pennsylvania. Almost every state we've talked about child sex abuse in the Watchtower and how lawsuits have been started. You imagine the money that they're paying out, millions of dollars, but have you ever thought about the lawsuits that aren't being settled in court? Now, sometimes there are people that don't want to go through the whole litany of being questioned. Were you raped? Did you do this, that, everything else? So they're driving up to the Watchtower to settle out of court. Now, imagine you're a dad. I want you just to kind of put yourself in this position. Imagine that you're a dad and your little girl was raped, molested sexually by an elder. Now, you don't want to drag your little kid through court and testify and all of this. It's going to be very traumatic. So what you do is you get in your station wagon, your SUV, you drive up to Warwick, and you say you want to talk to some officials in the legal department, and you want to make a settlement. Do you realize that's happening a lot? I'm not just blowing wind when I tell you this. It's just happening more than you would think. People driving up, sitting down with the officials of the Watchtower saying, look, at my daughter, or even your son, has been molested by an elder, ministerial servant, just a witness. And, I am here to let you be aware of it, and I'm going to go forth with litigation if something doesn't happen. The Watchtower gets their checkbook out pretty fast and starts writing checks. How much is that happening? Now, the Watchtower right now has got to be hemorrhaging, folks. No, I'm really not trying to in any way, try to suggest that they are going bankrupt. But from the figures and just the sheer amount of lawsuits they have, you can't have this amount of lawsuits and continue on. And at the same time, you have Jehovah's Witnesses that are in the PMO class. They're going to the meetings in a perfunctory way. They no longer want to be Jehovah's Witnesses. Do you think they're putting money in the contribution box? Get real with this. Do you think they're putting money in the contribution box? Of course they're not. So they're losing money with donations aren't coming in. Plus they got all of these lawsuits. How long can a company exist? I mean, this is a company, friends. Let's not look at it as a religion. Eventually the money is going to run out. Well, why do you think they're selling off so many Kingdom Halls? Now, all week long, I get people sending me news articles. My wife, in fact, Susan, she sent me a new article today I was reading about in Australia, another Kingdom Hall being sold off. And there's a very pricey Kingdom Hall at that. But they're selling it off, it looks like, to a tavern, a restaurant. But, the Watchtower is continuing to do this all around the world. Now, why do you think they're selling this property off? Friends, this money is being used to pay off lawsuits. And if you're a Jehovah's Witness listening in here, don't run for the mountains. Don't say, oh, this guy's a crock of baloney. Check it out. Just punch in Jehovah's Witnesses Australia Royal Commission. Just punch in Jehovah's Witnesses Norway. Punch in Jehovah's Witnesses Japan. Punch in Jehovah's Witnesses Belgium. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm not talking through my hat here. I'm telling you, this is the God's honest truth. We have, I believe, I'm going to go on the record to say it. I believe the Watchtower is running out of money. Now, I know you're going to say, Rick, no, they're not. They got plenty of money. I have to say, I used to take that stand too, but I got thinking, I'm a business person, and in the world of business, I have to tell you, there's a certain principle, business 101, that people have to rely on to keep a business afloat. You have to be taking in more money than money going out. In other words, your expenses can't be more than the revenue coming in. Now, even if you're not in business and you're a family man or a woman, you know that you have to take, you can't have more going out than coming in. Well, what happens when that happens? You go bankrupt. You can't handle it. You have no money left. All your money's going out for expenses. I'm telling you right now, that's what's going on with Watchtower. Why do you think they're making all these changes? They're making these changes because that's exactly what's happening. They got more going out, and they're seeing their revenue source dry up. That they can't let they can't let this royalty or this charity money they get leave them. They'll be out. I mean, if other countries follow suit like Norway, I'll give them maybe a couple of years. That'll be it. And what they will do now, I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not sure this could happen, but I'm really beginning to think it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Jehovah's Witness organization, Watchtower as you know it, will have to change their name. They have a tarnished.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Have you heard a lot say that, Pixie?
I have, and I think it's legitimate legally for any victim to have out of court. That's not a bad thing for people seeking to have a payout that way. And so I think you're right. I think that must happen more than we're told. They seek a quiet out of court settlement on a number of things. There was an issue the other day of that story where the person was injured at the assembly hall. That's a story too. The Watchtower did not want to pay out an injury claim.
Well, you can imagine that they have in the past, and I know many witnesses have called this program and said they were injured and at a construction site of the Watchtower, but basically they were on their own dime. The Watchtower kind of divested themselves from the whole situation. And when a person,
so that happens.
Yeah.
I think they're going to focus more on Africa, which is a huge continent. I know a lot of witnesses haven't had a lot of formal education, but Africa is not a country. It's a continent of a whole boatload of countries. And it's huge. And they're popular there. And so I can see them focusing there. I watched a video the other day. They had a very, very handsome and well-spoken black brother with a beautiful voice. And the Spanish podcaster even said, this gentleman has a buttery voice, and he did. And I can see where they could have videos of him focused just to African nations. So I think it's going to get more culty. I don't get too personally offended by things anymore. I've expressed more emotions on your show than I probably have in a lifetime. But I got a little bit offended when they said this future king's idea. Because Christ is our king, if I can put a little Sunday into it, but you know I don't. But I was offended when they said that the governing bodies are future kings.
It is a little offensive when they say that. Of course, they called them princes, 15 years ago. But
that was okay, but future king?
Well,
that's all I'm going to say.
Well, wait a minute. Before you leave, though, Pixie, of course, a woman can never be an elder. But if you were a man and, you really just kind of bebopped around in life, you never really made anything of any importance, and you're just a regular Joe, and then the Watchtower says that you're going to be a future king, what would that do to you, Pixie?
Well, it's okay if you're going to be a prince, but a king has even more implications to it. First of all, it would be very offensive to me if I was a British person with that King Arthur being the future king, and those people have an actual king. So that'd be super offensive to that part of the world. I've had good managers and bad managers. I've been a manager. These people have the governing body's not fit to run a hot dog stand.
Well,
and they are not good managers. They would make poor rulers. So don't be telling me they're going to be a future king, because they don't have any. There's an old saying, to lead is to serve. And they had no noblesse oblige. Sometimes you'll see a very wealthy person in a soup kitchen, or a very wealthy person working in a hospital, and they're doing this out of kindness and goodness because their time is their own. Those 9 men in New York have done none of it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to get off the radio before I get in trouble.
Well, my goodness gracious, always good to hear from you, Pixie. Good comments. I like your comments.
Thank you.
And I have to tell you that, where do I get this idea that the Watchtower could be in financial trouble? Well, what you have to do is you have to look at things from maybe a pragmatic view. You got to look at the good, the bad, the ugly. You look at everything. But there's one thing that pops out that kind of shows me they may be in financial trouble. I believe they're hemorrhaging financially. Look at friends, money doesn't grow
Well,
on.
they've had to pay for outside lawyers because Brumley, what I would have given to have gone to Columbia Law. Brumley had a bachelor's in something, and they pulled him out of the bindery, sent him to Columbia Law. He didn't want to go to law school. How can you be a good lawyer? And I say in quotes because a lawyer can play either side. But how can you be an effective attorney if you don't like it? And then he's got some kind of, wasn't he in contempt of court? So now they're paying for outside lawyers that are the effective lawyers, the good lawyers, the A students. Yeah, they might be hurting a little bit.
Well, I just want to just on that Brumley Watchtower lawyer. We had years ago, I'd say 12 years ago, 15 years ago, there was a woman that came on the program. Her name was Donna Ryder, and her husband was a lawyer for the Watchtower. And she said that he made big bucks, big bucks. He wasn't, you say, well, they're just going to work for a nominal fee. No, they get big money, and they lived in nice houses. They're well taken care of. So
I heard they got houses.
yeah, the legal expenses for the Watchtower now, as you say, they're hiring outside lawyers. They got, geez, I don't know how many lawsuits they got going on. I can't even count them. But we're talking mucho, big change of money here. I mean, more than you would think. And the thing that really has me thinking, Pixie, what really is kind of like a touchstone, a bellwether, call it what you want. But what's got me thinking here is this Ramapo project. Now, this project is supposed to be done in 2026. That's only in 2 years. We've heard numbers floating around on this Ramapo super gigantic audio, video producing center for the Watchtower. They talked about it 2 years ago. And, send us money. We need the money. We need the help. And so they want to have this done by 2026. It's not going to happen. And the figures that I see popping around for that project have been as high as $500 million. That is $500 million. So, I mean, but it's anywhere from 350 to 500 million. So but stay in that parameter. But the point that I would make is, why aren't they talking about it anymore? Why?
That's a good, I've had that question myself, and I can't get an answer for you. That's my question too.
Yeah, well, it kind of perks your ears up a little bit. And, there's little crumbs on the trail that you have to pick up and examine, and they're not talking about that anymore at all. And for a while there, a year ago, make sure that in fact, they were looking for RVs. They were looking for people, Jehovah's Witnesses, that had RVs that they were willing to donate. Maybe they were older or whatever the case would be, to donate to the Watchtower so they could have workers go up there. So something went astray. And that's just one little touchstone. The other touchstone is, why are they selling off so many Kingdom Halls? That doesn't make sense to me. They say they keep, so they keep claiming that they're growing, but selling off Kingdom Halls. That's I mean, a normal minded person who, you don't even have business school graduate people to understand it. You're going to have a little 10-year-old person understand it. If you're selling businesses off, if the little kid likes going to the Dairy Queen and all of a sudden everywhere he goes, the Dairy Queen's closing, I don't think Dairy Queen can say that, that they're doing wonderful. But the Watchtower gets away with it. They get
Hey, you know what? I think the Watchtower's milkshake machine's broken.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think the governing body's heads are dipped in chocolate. That's what I think. Thank you, Pixie. Thank you. Does Gilbert want to come on? I see he wants to come on here. He's on the stream. Let's bring Gilbert on. I'd like to see what he has to say. Come on, Gilbert. There you are. There's the.
Wow, there's so much to go over. Just real quick, I'm trying to go fast to cover all those points. You and I talked about it. Watchtower does have to change their name. They got to get rid of the name Sears. They got to get rid of the name Radio Shack. They got to get rid of the name Amway. They have money, but they got a bad name. But this is the thing that you have to understand. Watchtower there's nothing new under the sun. They're just like the politicians in Washington, D.C. They call it the revolving door. You go in, you get elected, you lose your election, you go work as with these those people that go and solicit Congress. I forget the name of those people, and then they get jobs in corporations. So how is it that this person who's making $50,000 a year, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she becomes a representative, and next thing you know, she's working for Boeing? How does that happen? It's called a revolving door. So this is what Watchtower does. They do have a revolving door. So they will invest in other religions, and maybe they have already done that, and some people have already gone and left. But the point is what is it that ties it all together? It's the 501c3, because the 501c3 creates an incestuous relationship with the government and the religion. And this is the problem that you're seeing with Norway and France and everything. This is where I disagree with you, my brother and I, Jesse, because we're trying to look at it from a different point of view. Watchtower is in bed with the government, whether it's United States, all over the world. They're in bed with their 501cs, with all of the different corporate statuses and all the equivalents of the 501c3s. And so it's a money grab that the governments are doing. At the end of the day, France doesn't care about your family. Norway doesn't care about your children committing suicide, because year after year, nothing happens. The religions continue to abuse the people. It's a money grab. And this is where I hate to say, a lot of people are not going to like this, but Rush Limbaugh was right. If they give you money, they own you. The government gives Watchtower money. The government lets Watchtower run a 501c3. They own them. It's an incestuous relationship. And then so that's in that aspect I kind of disagree with you, Rick. We're trying to just look at it from a different perspective. But the last thing about the Kingdom Halls, no, if I was advising Watchtower, I would sell everything I possibly could right now. Because in 2008, right before the market crashed, all over the news, people were talking about how people with excellent credit scores, millions of dollars in the bank, they were all doing one thing, and they were renting apartments. And they were like, why are all these people with 800 credit scores and millions of dollars in the bank renting? Because they sold everything and they knew the writing was on the wall. The market was going to crash, and it did. And they went in and they bought real estate at 25, 30, 40 cents on the dollar. You don't think Watchtower sees all of those businesses, all those offices that are vacant? That's all the news in YouTube right now in the business videos. The delinquencies are going up. So if I was Watchtower, hell yes, I would be selling a Kingdom Hall for $1, $2, $3 million, and I would go back after the crash and buy 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 real estate, and have all of my regular pioneers, all of my elders go back and clean up those properties and dedicate them to Jehovah. That's what I would do. Hell yeah.
Well, no, it sounds good on paper, but you're saying something here that might not be happening.
Yeah, if you have outside the box.
Well, no, think about it. You're saying they're selling these Kingdom Halls, then buy them back again. Even when they buy them back, but who's going to go if the witness is leaving?
Well, but who says they have to buy Kingdom Halls? See, if you sell a Kingdom Hall for $1 million, and you know the market's going to crash, and you have everybody's all the congregation's money in your possession, when the crash happens, you can go in and buy commercial real estate at 50 cents on the dollar. Who's to say you have to build a church?
Well, maybe I misread what you were thinking, but I mean, they've got to. Okay, so in other words, sell it now. Real estate crashes, then buy more. In other words, buy more commercial real estate. It doesn't have to be a Kingdom Hall, right?
That's what I would do. But yeah, I'm just going back with thinking outside the box. If everyone's thinking the same, then we're not thinking. And so it's good to have, not to disagree for the sake of disagreement, but kind of disagree to say, hey, why is Watchtower doing these changes? And the last thing, these changes I told you, is because Watchtower already has a new religion, Rick, and they're making all of these changes because Jesus Christ says you cannot have a new religion, new wine in old wineskins, in an old religion. Watchtower has to completely change everything Why? Because they have a new religion already established, and they're making all the steps necessary to get there. That's just my take.
Well, it's good take. No, I'll go along with the new religion. I'll go along with they're going to have to rebrand it. Hey, Gilbert, always good to see you. Always good to have you come on the program. People love you, Gilbert. Keep cranking. Thank you. All right, that's Gilbert Gonzalez. He's out of Arizona. Hey, we do have 516. 516, what do you have to say? Hit *6, 516. I can do it for you if you like. 516 out of New York. Did you want to say something? I guess not. Okay. So anyways, you're on. Yes.
You know, is it okay if I go back to a comment that you made about or everybody's discussion about the porn star, about her becoming, was it King of Dots that was talking about the porn star?
Oh, yeah. I'd like to hear what you have to say, Angela. Yep.
Yeah, well, you know, I guess I just want to say this. I think that the Watchtower has probably created a lot of girls and guys out there who, because of the circumstances and being kicked out of the organization, they had nowhere to go, being too young to really work. They had no car, maybe probably didn't have their driver's license, didn't have an ID of any kind. And so they end up out on the street. They're offered a warm place. Next thing you know, that they're in some bar dancing naked, and just keeps going from one thing to the other until they become a porn star. And, you know, they already think that they're Satan's child because they were kicked out and they're bad. But really, truthfully, they don't have anywhere to go, and they're not invited to any friend, any relative of any kind. They just don't have anywhere to go. And you know, we've heard over the years these crazy stories about people kicking their kids out and how they end up in that situation because they have nowhere to go. And you know, I remember, you know, so many people, they complain about these street people, and you know, they should just get a dang job, they'll say. You know, I've said that, but you know, when I started working in a jail teaching life skills, and I started realizing these poor kids, when they get out, they've got to get their driver's license, you know, they've got to get a job to pay for that, as well as their insurance that they've got to have. Then they've got to manage to get a car, and then they've got to get their Social Security card again, because it's lost. They don't have their birth certificate, and that's required. So you've got to pay for, you know, getting that ordered, and then wait for it to come back, and you've got to have an address where it's mailed to. I mean, it gets really freaking complicated to get back into society, and people are not educated on where to go and where to find help, and especially when you're a kid. And you know, we told countless stories on the show about these kids, what happened to them when they got kicked out by their parents. Like the one kid, I've told the story at least twice before about him getting abused, sexually molested by the elders, and then he was told to not say anything about it, but he went to church and told about it anyway. And then they said, then kick your son out of the house. And he was, you know, a young teenager, and they just left him out there, and he had to fend for himself. It ended up that he was out in the street, you know, being picked up by these creeps and turned into a prostitute, a sex slave at least. And I can go on and on, but he tried to come back. Dad, please, it's cold. Please let me in. Well, are you going to apologize to the elders? No. Okay, fine. Slam the door. Back out on the, you know, no, I'm not going to help you. I don't care if you're freezing. I don't care if you have no food and you're starving to death. I don't care that it's winter. You will not repent and apologize to the elders for being, you know, exposing them for what they did to you. And so you're bad and you're out on the street. This is the kind of crapola that goes on to these poor kids. So I just want to say, for anyone who's turned into a prostitute or been forced into that arena, it's because they had nowhere to go. And I just want to say that because it breaks my heart that we would laugh and say, oh, how funny it is. I guess they had sexual repression because they went and became a porn star. No, it was forced onto them. It just kind of gradually turned into that. And, you know, poor thing, they fell into it. And if they had better circumstances, they would never have done that. Nobody would purposely choose that life. So I just wanted to say that because it hurt me really bad. I don't like to hear that.
Well, yeah, man, sure. In fact, I'll retract the statement. I thought it was due to sexual repression too, but no, you got a good point there. You got a good point. When a person has nothing, they're almost willing to do anything. Sad to say.
Yeah.
Sad to say. But well,
Yeah.
always good to hear from you, Angela. Always good. Seriously. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That's Angela Clark. We all love Angela. All right, let's go to, we got 516. What's on your mind, 516? Go ahead. You're on with us.
You hear me?
Yes. Who's this? You're on. Go ahead, 516. You just muted yourself. Let me unmute you. Hold on 1 second. I can do it here through my computer. 516, you're unmuted. Go ahead. What do you want to say? Well, I'm not sure what's going on with him, but let's go to, let's go to two. Let me put my glasses on here. I can see it. Is that you, 516? You just hit *6. You come on. Just hit
That
star.
sounded like Jay.
Is that Jay? Could be. I think it might have been Jay. New York. Okay, Jay. Let me unmute Jay. Jay, I'm unmuting you. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Okay. Well, he's having some trouble unmuting his phone. Maybe he's got some problems. Let's go to 248. 248. Go ahead. You're on with us, 248.
Hello, Rick.
Hi.
I was watching a video the other day where it indicated that the Assembly Hall in New York is going to be sold for $16 million. And that really makes sense because a part of their 10-year plan is that they're going to be eliminating conventions and assemblies within 10 years. So it really makes sense that they are selling that Assembly Hall and other Assembly Halls because they have no need for them, because that's going to be eliminated, the assemblies and conventions.
Yeah, well, is this John? Is this
No, this is Philip.
Oh, Scott, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, yeah. So anyways, you go with this 10-year plan, you really are taking this to the bank and cash it, right? Of that 10-year plan, Scott, of the 10-year plan, what stands out to be the most noticeable aspect of it? Can you comment on that?
Well, I would say the eliminating the conventions and assemblies, because that was a very pertinent part of the organization. Also, within the 10-year plan, that they're going to eliminate the word Jehovah's Witnesses. They're going to be rebranded under another name. And this is coming from a PMO from Bethel. I gather this information from a site, a YouTube site called JW Updates. And he went through a litany for all of the plans that they're going to be doing within that 10-year plan. But I would say the conventions and eliminating the conventions and assemblies would be the most surprising to me. And if this is true, then therefore they really don't need assembly halls. So it makes sense. And also what you alluded to regarding them losing money, I think that's a very valid point as well, because they're getting sued left and right for a great deal of money.
Okay, Scott, I'm not sure what happened, but your phone line kind of got a little louder there. I'm not sure what happened. But hey, no, yeah, okay, yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you better now.
Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
yep.
Okay, good. So like I indicated, your suggestion regarding them losing money, I agree with that 100%, because these lawsuits are costing a great deal of money, and so therefore they need to sell these properties, but especially assembly halls, because if they're going to eliminate conventions and assemblies, there's no need for assembly halls.
Well, I mean, you're just thinking the way that a normal person would think. If you have no people coming, you don't need an assembly hall. Sell it off, and what was it, 16 million? You're saying they're getting 16 million?
16 million is one of the biggest, prettiest assembly halls they have in New York. I've seen it before on another channel where they showed it, and it's magnificent. And so they get a great deal of money out of that. So if they're going to sell something like that, I think it's true that they're going to eliminate assemblies and conventions within that 10 years.
Well, that's very possible. Very possible. Well, Scott, thank you very much. Thanks for checking in with us tonight here on the Six Screens, JW World News. Thank you. We're gonna go down to New York. We get you now, Jay. Yeah. In fact, I wasn't sure Anne-Marie thought it was you, but go ahead, Jay. You get the floor, buddy.
You hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I want to thank you for having that guest on that video, and the movie, and this Sister Anderson. I want to thank you because you continue to go on with this. I have a feeling that they're going to lose their way because the government's going to crack down. In Russia, they had them as extremists. In Holland, they have it. You meant Holland, but you didn't way. They're getting in hot water because the Europeans handle it differently here. And you can be separate from judgment, but you can't destroy young kids. They're messing up young kids' minds. And I remember when I was young what they did, and they completely really ruined my life. And many, I'm looking at what they do. You had to go somewhere else. Like you're talking about the young girls that are thrown in the street. Yes, they are. In Holland, they're thrown in the street, and the government has to help them. The government's not going to keep helping people. That could be responsibility of the parents. It takes a strain on the government. And the other thing is, people begin to see that it's lying and it's cultist. People don't know. I didn't know the definition of cult. Now I do see the definition of cult is like the Hitler youth. They make you like the Hitler children, and you don't know what you're going. I'll Watchtower, and that's what I really see. You're saluting the Watchtower. You may not salute the American flag anymore because the elders said no, but now you're saluting the Watchtower, and the Watchtower can do no more. They can lie to you. They made a mistake. It's okay. They misrepresent the prophecies. It's okay. Anything comes from mother organization. Remember that word. It's okay. It isn't okay. People are waking up. Their children are getting this fellowship. People in the world, I don't think they know what this cult thing is. You have to be thrown out like I was. And luckily, I had a good medical community help me. I wouldn't be here. I literally would not be here because they messed my mind up so with guilt and shame. And they're really horrible. They're really demonic. They're the demonic organization. They worship the devil on a daily basis, and I love them with all my heart. And then I recently, I got a problem with my real heart, but that's okay. But the mental clarity comes from when you start to see what they do. Like Anne-Marie, she sees what they did to her, how they mistreated her when she brought all her kids over to the congregation. They don't care. They just use you and discard you. Like burn it, like a certain burn and discard. And it's really sad because they are a diabolic organization. They come to the door saying they love you, they help your family. They won't help your family. Yeah, help your family, destroy your family, become their family, like during the Hitler Youth, and then you're okay. As long as you go, I'll Watchtower every day. And I appreciate that information about the Hitler thing. I have to get it someday from whoever has it, because I wasn't aware of that. I used to always preach about that. I didn't know they had been so involved with the organization. I know they try to write to the German chancellor to get breaks for them, but they didn't get breaks for them. They got treated as a government would. And the thing is that they're limited here. They're not going to put up with this. You know how many veterans commit suicide on a daily basis? You know how many veterans have tampered with this, quote, religion of paradise? I know maybe 5-6 veterans I know when I was doing self-help programs. They were witnesses, and it messed them up royally. It doesn't help a person's mind. When you're thrown out, you're debased, your life is taken away from you because you see no future. You see no future. According to the Watchtower, if you're not in the organization, you have no future. That's pretty horrible, and that's not true. I just want to put that out there. Thank you so much. My voice a little off tonight, but I know that luckily I got this thing with help with Ken from Michigan to get this thing with you, and a direct line to you I have. that I wish people listening would just get up, write your congressman a letter, write that you've been listening to this program, call the local newspaper. It's not that complicated. There's helplines you should, like Channel 2 help. I've done things like that and it works wonders. People have to wake up. One day they'll have no space in the paper. They'll take your article and put down ex-Jehovah's Witness tell the truth. Not the true lies, the true truth. So thank you for letting me talk, Rickard. Thank you.
Well, you always have a voice. Go ahead. Yep.
Phone number? Is there any chance we can get your phone number? I miss calling you, Jay.
Yeah, sure. 516. Are you there?
I'm right here.
Who is this? It's 516 709.
Okay.
1607. I think Rick has it. Yeah. 709 1607. I believe. Yeah. Emery.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. I'm so happy to hear you.
Thank you for staying strong. Thank you. Bye.
Well, thank you, Jay. Jay, you always have a voice here. We love you, buddy. We really, really do. Thank you, Jay, out of New York.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, go ahead. I think we got Australia coming in. Go ahead, Australia.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. It's Tim. Yeah, didn't want to be disagreeable. I just want to address a comment from the previous caller before Jay, talking about the JW updates and the 10-year plan. JW Updates channel, Phil Evangelinos. It's a good channel, and he has covered a lot on the 10-year plan, but it's still speculative. And we, like you started talking about it, can't take that information to the bank. Some of the there's a channel called Alt Worldly, which I actually don't like, but he did do a good job covering it with a guy called Ron Pomo, who provides a lot of information to Kim and Mikey and other channels. And Ron Pomo tried to get in contact with this fellow with a 10-year plan. And it sounds like he's pretty much not legit because he's said a lot of lies. He's tried to say we couldn't, you didn't try to get in contact with me. All this. So it's a questionable source. And while some of the things on the 10-year plan sound believable, do we really think they're ever going to get rid of assemblies when that is nearly the focal point of many witnesses' life? That's the thing they look forward to, catching up with their friends. I'm going to say that if you scrapped assemblies, that's going to be pretty disappointing to most of the people. That's just my opinion. But, I mean, I guess really what I'm saying is any information you hear, unless it's really 100% credible, you still have to talk about it like it's speculation only. You can't talk about it like it's reality. Otherwise, you're just going into the whole thing where you are possibly, apostate lies, I guess. You don't want to be saying false information is true when you don't know for sure. That's just my thoughts, Rick. Thanks very much. Good show.
Wow, thank you. Appreciate you coming in all the way from Australia. Really, really appreciate it. Well, we've got I got a few minutes left. I just want to say one thing, too, on why I believe the Watchtower is really starting to pinch pennies and really why I think they're running out of money. Just one other thought. Friends, many, many states have lifted the statute of limitations for filing lawsuits against filing lawsuits concerning child sex abuse. Many states have lifted that. The Watchtower was kind of hoping that they wouldn't, because now what that does is opens Pandora's box. So more and more lawsuits are going to come forward, costing the Watchtower millions and millions of dollars. Ken, what do you have to say from the Northern Peninsula of Michigan? What do you have to say, Ken? You're on with us, Ken. I'll unmute you. Hold on one second. Okay. Well, okay, Ken, you're on with us. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I accidentally muted myself somehow. Yeah, I talked to Jay tonight for about an hour. I'm glad to hear he's doing better and so forth. And the number he gave, though, he was off on something. The number that since he agreed to give it, I'll repeat it again. It's 516-709-1606. I think he made that last 4 digits was wrong. So that's the number that he's got.
Yeah, give it.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment right here. It's not going to be a question of if, it's just when. The Watchtower is going to be running out of juice and so forth, so to speak, with all the lawsuits and everything like that. And what we hear on the 6 screens of some of these programs is just a fraction. Now, there's a lot of stuff we don't hear about, like a lot of out-of-court settlements and everything like that. So it's really, it's worse than what we would think. It's worse what we're led to believe and all that. So, yeah, I have always mentioned before, now, if you read their past history, they've changed their names and they've made changes in the past, and they'll probably do that again. But as I've said before, and you just watch and see if they do it sooner than later, it's not going to work. They'll probably start another religion and so forth, but it's not going to work as good as this one because, like you mentioned in the past, the internet and everything like that we got is a great equalizer. People that's conscientious and all that and want to do investigative research right at their fingertips right now like it's never been before. So, and you don't need the professionalism that you needed in the past to do research analysis like today and all that. It's right at your fingertips. So, yeah, they're going to be, they're in hot water down the road. So.
Well, thank you, Ken. Always good to hear from you, and thank you very much for speaking up and letting people know your feelings here on the 6 screens. That's Ken out of Northern Michigan. All right.
Yeah, nice talking to you too, and let's take the next call. Hit *6.
All right. I do believe we have, did you want to come on, the 213? Come on, 213.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
I'm cranking away at it.
Hey, Rick, not meaning to change the subject, but why is Smurf Girl bad-mouthing you all on the internet?
Yeah, no, she's doing that. She badmouthed Kim and Mikey and Bill Bowen, and I'm not really sure. Yeah, I mean, just going back a couple of weeks ago, she was praising me and she loved me, but then she turned on me. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. I don't believe what she. I don't believe anything she's saying, but I don't know. I don't know why people do this. I didn't do anything to hurt her, but geez, she's lashing out at me and Kim and Mike, Bill Bowen, Cedars. I don't know. Yes.
It's just a thought.
Yeah.
Please forgive me if I could just interject. Please forgive my rudeness, but it came to me. How do we know that Smurf Girl, who is widely known and respected and well liked generally in the XJW community, how do we know that she was not pulled aside and secretly offered a big load of money to badmouth everybody? I mean, nobody would know. I mean, it's like, if a governor wants somebody kicked off, they just call the mafia and have it done for them. Watchtower gets away with a lot of sneaky stuff that nobody finds out about. I'm just surmising.
Well, I never thought of that. I never thought of that, Anne Marie. But the thing that I have to say is Smurf Girl has gone through an awful lot. I mean, her uncle murdered her other uncle, killed his wife. It was terrible. I mean, she's been through a lot. She's had difficulties when she was young, so I'll cut her some slack. I don't know what's going on in her life, but I mean, everyone's writing me. Rick, pay no attention, but geez, I wish her the best. I really do. I hope that she can get on with it, but to lambaste all of your allies, I never did anything to her, but it's okay. I understand that the pressure's a lot. When people are under a lot of pressure, they say a lot of things, Thank you, Emery. Yeah.
Hey, Rick King.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, let's go with Michael King.
Hey, Rick, how you doing? I can't imagine anybody not liking you. I really can't.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, anyway, I always talk to my elder friend. His grandmother was a witness. His father was a witness. His brother served at Bethel. And he's a witness to this day, and he's an elder, and I don't think he's ever going to change, but it's okay. we're good friends. We went through sporting competitions together, and so that drew us to our closeness. That's why we respect each other. And I can talk to him without raising the bar, so to speak, where witnesses get upset. I can talk to him. And he said to me a couple of comments that this week that I was so surprised about, and I just want to share them with you real quick. One, I was asking him about the 144,000. I told him I conduct a Bible study on Wednesdays mornings, and I teach people not only the Jewish faith, but now we're talking about Jehovah's Witnesses. So I asked him, I said, what scriptures do you use more to show that the 144,000 are 144,000 Jehovah's Witnesses? Tell me the scriptures you use so I can tell my people. And he said that, well, it's just not all Jehovah's Witnesses now. It's not just for Jehovah's Witnesses. The 144,000 could be, Tinsdale, who wrote the Bible, translated the Bible. I've never heard of that before out of the Jehovah's Witness. Have you?
Well, good question.
Yeah. And then the second thing he said that I was telling him, I told him that I watched a video of a girl trying to call her mother, and the mother wouldn't answer the phone because she was being shunned. And I said, Mark, just think of that. Here is a person. Wonder if this little girl was raped and trying to reach out to her parents. I wonder if she's in the hospital and trying to reach out to his parents. And he said a couple of interesting comments. He said, hey, and even worse than that, wonder if she was trying to get back into the organization, trying to tell her parents that. I kind of lost it there a little bit, but I didn't say anything. But he was telling me that there have been a lot of changes in the organization. And one of his elder friends in his congregation said, isn't it nice, Mark, that we're becoming more Christ-like? I thought that was an amazing comment. So I just wanted to share them with you. Those are two comments. I was blown away. I never knew that the 144,000 was for other people except Jehovah's, besides Jehovah's Witnesses. And to think that the Jehovah's Witness organization are starting to think they're becoming more Christ-like just kind of blew me away. So
well, it's blowing a lot of people away, Michael. Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you very much for chiming in with us. One more comment. Let's go to, I think it's Dick Constance. Go ahead, Dick. Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. I want to comment a little bit on Smurf Girl, if I could, and I'd like to set the record straight about a few things. Just so the audience knows, before 6 Screens, there was the Upper Room Ministry. And I used to go over to your house every Sunday and you used to hear a talk in your study. And I would have coffee with your former wife, Inez. And I knew her quite well for a number of years. And she always said what a wonderful husband you were, what an outstanding Christian, how much love you gave to her. She always told me that directly. I heard that directly from her. And I also saw when she was deteriorating mentally and physically, how you kept that house clean, did the laundry, fed her, did your job. You were just an outstanding husband. So I really take what exception to Smith Girl. And I'm thinking there could be a possibility that this is artificial intelligence starting to play its hand. I just saw a thing on TV this morning about Tom Cruise. They had an actor. It wasn't Tom Cruise, but he looked just like Tom Cruise, and he sounded like Tom Cruise. I don't know if this is the case, but I can tell this audience that you've always been a very, very loving guy. And if you don't want to take it from me, because I was flattered a few years ago and you said I was your best friend, if you don't want to take it from me, just think of this. Rick Ferrin is climbing up ladders with heavy signs in the sign business, and he's not charging anybody to come on to 6 Screens. He's been doing it for 20 years. It's costing him $500 a month to do this, and he's telling you, don't send me money. That is love. That is love for people that he's not related to. That's love for people that love Jesus and love the truth. So we are telling Rick Ferrin is, and his wife Sue now, is telling the audience that how much you love them. You're going to drop $15,000 of your own pocket to rent an auditorium so people can go up in August of 25. That's love. So does it make sense that a person like Rick Ferrin, who could give that much love to people, would be unkind to his wife of 4 decades that bore him 5 children? Just use your brain. And if you hear anything negative about Rick Ferrin, I can tell you it's and I'm choosing my words carefully here, it's a goddamn lie.
That's it.
Oh, thank you, Dick. No, it is, and I thank you for sticking up for me. But I'm cutting her some slack. I mean, I get one thing. I'll tell you something. Really, for 20 years I've been doing this. I've never missed a Saturday night. I'm not boasting, but I put a lot into this. This is something that I really feel is necessary for people to hear. We have a lot of people that rely on the 6 screens. So I'm here because they are here, and we never miss a Saturday night. And I'm proud of that. I'm here, and I love to do this program because all the people calling in, we never know who's going to call in. But the point I wanted to make is I've seen so many people come and go. We call them meteorites. They come in, they're here for a while and gone. Smurf Girl, she had a program here on the 6 screens, and I've talked to her off of the 6 screens network numerous times. I've never in any way insulted her or said anything bad to her. And why all of a sudden the turn of heart? I don't get it. But sometimes I don't have to get it. But I understand that sometimes people, because of the pressure, she has a lot of pressure, so I'll cut her slack. Sometimes people will say things, and I believe in time she'll come and apologize. But thank you all for being supportive here. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Dick. All right, let's go to, we got Eric coming up here shortly with Awakening After the Watchtower. But I want to go to the secret words. No one said the secret word tonight. If someone did, please let me know. But here's the envelope. We got the secret envelope here. Let's open up and we'll talk about the secret words. I want to give some books away. I just want to mention to Dick and Connie, did you get your books? Dick, did you get the books I sent? Okay. So I just want to mention that.
Yes, we got it, Nick.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I just want to mention that, I'm going to send the books out, but I need an address. Well, don't say, well, Rick has my address, or Rick knows my address. Send me your address. I can't send anything out because it costs money to do that, and then it comes back. So send me your address to jwworldnews@gmail.com, and you'll get the books. Now it's going to take, give me 2-3 weeks to do it. It takes a little work to do it and put stuff together and package it and send it to me. I try to send them all off at once. So give me 2 or 3 weeks to get it. So don't get upset if you don't get it next couple of weeks. But please, I need your address. Don't say, well, Rick's got it, because I don't. I'm not going to go looking through mail and this and that. So send me your address at jwworldnews@gmail.com. Okay, so we get the secret words. No one said it tonight. If someone did, please let me know. But I have 4 secret words right here. And I'm going to give some clues and see if some people can. I got numerous books here. I want to thank Nathan Nadis from Washington State. He sends them to me. So let's see if someone can come up with the words that we have here tonight. Okay, this was the first. Well, before the Awake magazine, we had the
Science Watchtower.
No, before the Awake.
Golden Age.
Golden Age. Who was that first person that said that? You want to identify?
Golden Age.
That was Aaron and me.
Oh, Aaron. Okay, Golden Aaron says send me. You got a nice book coming. So go ahead and send me your address, your physical address, and I'll put it in the mail. But give it 2 or 3 weeks at least, okay? 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, so send it to JW World News. You got it, Aaron. Good for you. All right, let's go with, I think Pixie might have said this tonight. I think Pixie said it, but just for the sake of maybe I'm going to send her one anyways. If she's listening in, she can send me her address. But I'm going to give you guys an opportunity as well. It's a town in New York. A town in New York. Okay, I mean that's a big.
Ramapo.
What is it?
Ramapo. Ramapo.
Yeah, Ramapo. You got who's this?
Tim.
Tim, I can't. I can't send out of the United States. They won't let me.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Send it to Aaron. Send it to Aaron as well.
All right. Well, I'll put another book in for Aaron. He's a good guy. I'll put another book in there for him. Well, that's
what I thought.
okay. I'll put now. I got plenty of books. Aaron, you get 2 books. All right. So now we got the other secret word. Nobody said it tonight. It has to do with one of the Watchtower facilities in New York. Who wants to take a shot at it? All right. Let me give you another clue. At one time, there was a lot of green vegetables.
Watchtower Farms.
Watchtower Farms. Who said that?
Anne-Marie.
Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, you get some stuff coming. I need your address. Send me at jwworldnews@gmail.com. Okay? So you got 3 books coming now, Anne-Marie. But send me your address. And
you remember though.
Yeah, you got 3 books. No, I just need your address. I know you sent me cards and what have you, but going back and trying to find them, and my God, so so send me your address, jwworldnews@gmail.com. You got 3 books coming, Anne-Marie. They're good books. It'll be worth your while, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go with, we got another one here. We had another secret word. The duck didn't come down on this one. I'm going to give you a clue. Watchtower bought this property and actually put a bomb shelter on it. What did they call that bomb shelter? All right. Some people think that Judge Rutherford was buried there. It's in California.
Beth Stream.
Not Beth Sareem, no.
Oh, was it?
Okay.
Yeah.
They say that who said that? Who said Beth Shan?
This is Thomas Hodgson Morris.
Tom Thomas, you get yourself a nice book. So send me your address. Well, there you go, Thomas. You got. I'll tell you what, no, that's good. That's a tough one. You got it though, Thomas. You watched our history. So.
It's been a while.
All right.
Oh, golly.
So Beth Shan, he's got it. Okay. So send me your address, Thomas. The books are on the way. Give it 2 or 3 weeks. Don't get upset if you don't get them soon. But I try to put a few together and do it. Okay. So I'm trying to save all my Amazon boxes. So I'm to put these books in. But thank you, Thomas. And I want to thank Nathan Natus for giving us the books. We got plenty of books here. So the books are on the way. Well, friends, thank you very much for tuning in to JW World News tonight. My goodness, we have got so many things that we've been sharing with people, and you gotta walk away saying, man, how much longer can the Watchtower last? I don't think much longer. But anyways, I've been saying that for years, but now we're coming down to the nitty-gritty. I believe the Watchtower is dead. It just hasn't fallen over yet. Well, listen, I want you to keep standing tall. Don't you ever give in, up, or out. Keep waving that flag of victory and never let your visions die. And the last one, leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. Don't leave us now, though. We got Eric coming in from Tennessee. Well, he's a former Jehovah's Witness. Got a lot to talk about tonight. Awakening After the Watchtower. That's the name of his program. He'll be on with us. So let's end our broadcast right here. And thank you all for calling in, all those on YouTube, commenting on Facebook. and all the people that called into the program tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to end the program right here, but don't go anywhere. Stay on the same channel, Awakening After the Watchtower. Coming up next, right here on the Six Screens Telenetwork. Thank you.